Boom. What is good? What is happening, everybody? It's your boy, Fares Muthana, and welcome to another great episode of The Rally. We are talking Australian Open fourth round just concluded. And to take us through the draw and the craziness and the tremendousness and all of the happiness that is going down under is none other than Adelia Chamberlain. Adelia, how are you?
I'm good, Ferris. How are you?
I'm doing good. We are going live. It's 4 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. It is 2 hours prior to the quarterfinals starting today, I believe. Let me double check the schedule.
The quarterfinals, the singles matches don't start until 6
6.
p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, so
So
in 2 hours we have Coco Gauff and Marta Koscheck, and in the men's side, it's an hour and a half later. It's Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz, and they're both playing on Rod Laver Arena. So we'll see if that happens in the hour and a half allotted. The way Coco Gauff's been playing, probably.
yeah,
But
yeah.
she's going against Marta Koscheck, who's a very tough out. But let's break it down. Rounds 3 and 4, Adelia. Take me through some matches that you were quite keen on.
And do you want to start with the men or the women? Let's start with the women.
Let's start with the women.
Coco Gauff looks so composed and in control of everything this tournament. Her first match, she was a little shaky in the opening service games, but then she settled down and she's just looked ready to win this ever since. She took on Magdalena Freck, who had a very impressive win in the third round. She beat Caroline Garcia in the second round. Garcia had, of course, taken out Osaka. This could have been either one of them versus Coco, but it was Magdalena Freck, and Coco just handled business pretty comfortably. Setting up this match against Marta Koscheck, who took out the 20. Is she 20-year-old Maria Timofeeva? I think she's 20.
She's 20, yes.
She's 20. This would have been possibly Maria Sakkari. This would have been possibly Beatrice Haddad Maya, but they didn't make it through. They didn't get to this section. So she's got Marta Koscheck, who's a Ukrainian player. Great story with the Ukrainian players. We had 2 of them in the fourth round. We will get to that. I actually have 2 of them in the quarterfinals. We will get to that in a minute. But yeah, Coco looks really uncomposed. I expect her to beat Marta Koscheck, but anything can happen on a tennis court.
Pretty much, yeah. And this was kind of every time I was watching this match, Coco was always apologizing. She was like, "I'm sorry, my bad. I'm sorry."
She hit a lot of net cords in this match.
A lot of net courts, a lot of net points, and she just kept apologizing to Magdalena Freck. But honestly, like, it was never in doubt. Pretty much, Coco Gauff kind of had full control from start to finish. I'm gonna be quite honest. It was kind of a boring match. I kind of blinked once. And it was already over. And it was over. Like, that's how fast it was. It was 6-1, 6-2, straight sets, smooth, not playing with your food, taking her out. She was serving to survive, but Coco was like, "I'm gonna break your serve to end you," and that's what happened. And there was no dangling of the, "Oh, I may win," against Coco. It was like, no, Coco was like, she took that carrot and hit her with it. You know what I mean? So, and she kind of like, no, Magdalena Freck, she was cool. I watched some of her matches. She looked very good, very poised. But Coco Gauff's another beast. She's a different beast.
Yeah. She is.
Yeah. And there's nothing really much to say about this match, really. Like, the stats, it's kind of like, so the winning of the first serve points, Coco Gauff was at 76. Magdalena Freck was at 47. You know what I mean? Here's a little oddity. First serve in, Coco was at 55%, and Magdalena was at 67. So Coco's first serve wasn't really there, but I don't think she's a big serve player anyway. She doesn't rely on her serve to get matches, and it just kind of showed. And the unforced errors, there was only one difference between 20 and 19 in favor of Gauff. So it's kind of like, I don't know how she won this match so comfortably. I'm gonna be quite honest.
She's just a better player than Magdalena Freck is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to it. Her serve, she might not have had as many first serves in, but she was winning a lot of those first serves when she got it in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's still tinkering with the serve. She had those few days with Andy Roddick in the off season where she worked on improving the serve. I think she's still not quite there,
Mm-hmm.
but she's getting there. So that's that quarter of the draw. So that's the quarterfinal, Kostick versus Goff, happening in just a couple of hours. The
Mm-hmm.
other quarter on this half of the draw has gone a little more predictably than, say, some of the other quarters.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with Mira Andreeva versus Barbora Krejcikova. Andreeva came out, won the first set of this match, looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Krejcikova looked really frustrated, and then she was like, "You know what? This kid's 16 years old."
It's time for you to go home. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go color. All right. You know what I mean? That's what she basically said. Good. What are you doing here? All right. You should be having teenage problems, not being in Australia during the
About to
Australian Open.
make the
Like,
quarterfinals. Yeah,
yeah,
set away from the
what's going on here?
quarterfinals.
You should be like gossiping in high school right now. Like what are we doing here? You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Barbara Kucheva was like, it's time to go. It's time to
yeah.
go. Take her out. And she took her out.
And she did.
Yeah. Very
When
smooth,
those,
very killer, very systematic, and kind of like I'm done. I'm done with this child. This is a
yeah,
child. This is a child. You know what I
yeah.
mean? She could be her mother. You know what I mean? Like what
I
is
don't know
going on
about
right
that.
now? I don't know
I
if
don't
you
know
know if
about
Barbara
that.
Kucheva had her at a young age, probably. You
Let's
know?
see. How old is Barbara Krejcikova? She's 28, so she would have been 12 when Mary Andreeva
No,
was born.
no,
So
no,
not
then
quite.
no. You know, not quite, not quite, not quite. But the sentiment still holds true. Like
They're from different generations of
yeah,
tennis
you're
players for sure.
like you're a child. What are we doing here? It's time for you to
Yeah,
go home. It's time for you to go home. And that's what happened to Coco Golf quite often when she was 16. Coco would win the occasional match, and people were like, "Oh my God, Coco!" And then she would just run into like not even like the big heavy hitters, right? Not even like the top 5 players or the top or like the best. It would be like number 8, number 10, and they take him out. That's
yeah,
how it would be
yeah.
pretty
So
much.
we've got Barbara Krejcikova moving into the quarterfinals, where she's going to take on Arina Sabalenka, who is the in-form player of this tournament so far.
Hmm.
She has lost, I believe, a total of 11 games in 4 matches. How is she not the bookies' favorite? Because Coco is the bookies' favorite. I am so surprised they do not have Arina Sabalenka as the bookies' favorite to win this tournament.
I think it's because Coco beat her in the final in the U.S. Open.
I mean, maybe.
That's the only thing I would
She's
see
the
as a judge.
defending champion,
No,
Sabalenka.
Adelia, I'm with you. She would be my bookie's favorite, but I'm trying to see what's inside the bookies. How, like how much money can you place on somebody, right? And name branding, right? And like people, the name Coco Golf, people know the name. Sabalenka, people know the name, but
People know the name of Sabalenka.
yeah, I know, but
She
I
made it to the
honestly
semifinals or better of all 4 of the slams last year.
I agree with you. So I'm thinking the only reason for Coco being the betting favorite is that she beat Sabalenka in that U.S. Open final. That's it. I think
It
that's the
could
only
be.
thing. That's the only thing. Even though she's the defending champion, she's literally only lost. See, she lost 3 games in this
I think
Anisimova
it's
match.
11 games. I think it's
Yeah,
11
I think it's
games.
right. So five.
But she took out Amanda Anisimova in the 4th round. Anisimova, fantastic tournament for her coming back after her mental health break last year. She did phenomenally well,
Mhm.
getting to the 4th round. She just looked like every other opponent Arena has had so far, and that is somewhat overwhelmed by how well Arena is playing at the
Mhm.
moment. So
Then the rain delay in the middle of the match
the rain
kind
delay
of
didn't help. Yeah.
yeah. They tried to play, then they didn't play, and then then they were drying the court, and then they were I don't know what they were doing. And then did they end up shutting the roof?
I think they ended up shutting the roof, yeah, because there was a longer rain delay that came out of that. So
Yeah,
on the
because
outer
it's
courts,
because it started to pour.
it did.
Started to pour. But in the way the Australian Open operates, they want to be known as an outdoor slam, where like they want the roof to always be open. You know, they want it to always be open because the other 3, I think all the roofs are always open. Because there's no roof at Wimbledon.
There's
Um,
a roof at Wimbledon. What are you talking about?
Center court.
There's a roof on center court and court 1 at Wimbledon.
Oh, okay.
There's roofs on all of the main courts of the slams now, because there's also now a roof on Chatrier at Roland Garros.
Because of the rain. Yeah, oh yeah, because the rain. Yeah, the rain.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
rain.
but yeah. So yeah. So but they don't want to always close the roof. They want to keep it open because they want to
No,
be known as an outdoor slam.
yeah, you always want to try to have the roofs open, but when it's raining, there's nothing they can do but shut the roof and play.
Yeah. Or
It's the
it's
only way to
either
keep the schedule on track.
yeah, exactly. It's either we shut the roof and you play or we wait for the rain to stop. And what do you
Yeah.
want? You want to get back out and play. Even though the roof changes air circulation and the ball kind of travels differently. So you have to
Yeah,
adjust.
it definitely plays differently when the roof is
Mhm,
closed and it's indoors. But you can also toss up the ball and see it, and it's not lost in the sun
mhm,
and stuff like that. So
exactly. But
conditions are definitely different.
but
But
Sabalenka's
Sabalenka's
just
on a
cooking.
tear.
She's just cooking, man. Anna Samova she was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Let me
Like,
let me tell you what worries me about Sabalenka is we saw the same form in Brisbane in the warm-up tournament until she got to the final against Elena Rybakina, and it took her an hour to win a game.
mm-hmm, it's
That
true.
worries me about Sabalenka. I feel like she's probably learned from that, and I don't think any of the ladies other than Coco left in this draw are necessarily similar to Rybakina, and she'd have to play Coco in the semis. But
Mm-hmm.
as we'll talk about with the other half of the draw now, this half has been decimated as far as the seeds go.
Yeah, the top half. There's. I'm not gonna call them a
There's
bunch of
one
nobody. I'm not gonna call
there's
them a
one
bunch of
seeded player
nobodies, but
left.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah, it's
one
like
seeded player left.
and that's I believe Quinn Shen,
Qinwen Sheng.
Quinn Win Shang.
Yeah,
Shout out to the 21-year-old out of China.
yeah.
She's going against Anna Kilinskaya. Yeah, I got it.
Kalinskaya, yeah.
Kilinskaya. Let's go. She kind of dispatched of the Italian, I believe. No wait, the Italian, not
Yeah, yeah. Kalinskaya dispatched of Jasmine Paolini.
yeah, Jasmine Paolini. And I was watching this match with you, Adelia, and it was just there's moments of Paolini looked good in the second set, but Anna just kind of just like felt like took over the match. Kind of just
Yeah.
like played her match, and Paolini really didn't do much afterwards. It was like,
Paolini couldn't really trouble her.
yeah, even though
And
even
so,
though, even though Anna had like her shoulder was taped, so I don't know if there's an
yeah,
injury there or not. So I don't
yeah,
know, but yeah, it felt like not in doubt. There's nothing in doubt for Kalinskaya. Like she just cooked. She was
yeah,
just like she was just whooping that behind basically. And I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie to you, Delia. In the fourth round, nothing crazy happened. Nothing exciting happened. Nothing really like drew my eye. It was just good, solid tennis. It
yeah.
was just good, solid tennis. Like nothing crazy. And the
We
only
didn't have
thing
a
that,
major upset.
yeah,
Uh, the biggest thing we have to an upset is Noskova over Svitolina, but that was a retirement due to injury. It
yeah,
wasn't, so.
and
Although
yeah,
I would say Yastremska over Azarenka is definitely an upset.
yeah, because that game was actually a little bit more competitive, unlike the others, where the first game went to a tiebreak. So there was a tiebreak in there, and then Yastrzemska kind of just kind of took it over from Vika. And I didn't, I like Vika, but like in this match, I didn't feel Yastrzemska like she doubted herself. Like she didn't feel like Vika had a shot. In
Yeah,
the second set, Yastrzemska kind of took over and just kind of just kept playing solid, and it just felt like
she let
you're not
Vika make the errors.
yeah, like you're not gonna
She did,
win.
yeah,
You're gonna lose. Like it felt like you're gonna lose, not me winning. Like
yeah,
you're gonna fail. And that's what kind of happened because Yashimska was nice. She played very solid. Um, her forehand was pretty good. I remember once Vika returned her shot and Vika went to center court, and then Strumska hit it with her forehand as she's like running, and it went straight down the line, and it was a good winner. So there's that. But yeah, again, Adelia, like none of the matches wowed me. It was just solid tennis, and the better player won most of the
Yeah.
time. You know,
Diana Yastremska won three setters in qualifying to even make the main draw. Now she's in the quarterfinals, having lost only one set in the main draw. She's taking on Linda Noskova, who is, like we said, got the benefit of a retirement from Elena Svitolina, a very emotional Elena Svitolina, who injured her back. Yastremska's 23 years old. She's been a very interesting person to have in tennis in her short time in the main tours. She has had a suspension for PEDs.
oh wow.
She done which she said she got in a very amusing way that I'm not going to mention on this show because it's a family show. I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, wow.
She did a photo shoot where she was half in blackface to show that we're all the same.
Oh, God.
Yeah. She's interesting. She also is a young girl from the Ukraine who, when Russia invaded, got on a boat with her sister and left and hasn't been back for over a year and a half or whatever it's been now. And her family's still there and she hasn't seen them. And she's putting on a brave face about all of it. And she's doing really well in this tournament. And so we have two Ukrainians in the quarterfinals, which I think is pretty cool.
And wait, she painted herself as blackface to show that we're all one.
Yeah, basically. That was around the big Black Lives Matter movement summer.
Dude, I love how you say that, right? Then you're like, oh, she's also a Ukrainian refugee where she's never seen her house.
She is. Like I said, she's been a very interesting person to follow in tennis because it's been the gamut with Diana Yastremska.
It went from she's a juice head to she may be racially insensitive to she's a refugee from a war-torn country now.
She's all three of those things, Fares. She's also an Australian Open quarterfinalist, having beaten a two-time Australian Open champion.
You know what? I thought I was gonna laugh when we talked about Patrick McEnroe, but I think this takes the cake. Shout out to Patrick McEnroe finding out that being the lead play-by-play commentator is pretty hard when you're doing spots.
Ad reads. Yeah.
Ad reads. Shout out to the, what is it? What did he say? The fourth team in the world or something? I don't know. He was doing an ad read for college basketball on ESPN. He was like, I don't know. I don't remember what he said. It was like, it was him and who? I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember. So he was like, the fourth team or something. He didn't say it's like it's something. He just it was just hilarious. He just didn't know what the hell he was doing.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake.
It was definitely a mistake. But shout out to Patrick McEnroe. When's Nick Kyrgios coming back?
Probably tonight is my guess.
Yeah. I'm starting to like Nick Kyrgios, even though I've slandered him on their show more than once.
Yeah, Kyrgios seems to be alternating days between the ESPN feed and the Eurosport feed. I think so.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So our quarterfinals on the women's side: Linda Noskova versus Diana Yastremska, Anna Kalinskaya versus Qinwen Zhang. One of them will be a first-time. Two of them will be first-time Grand Slam semifinalists. One of them will be a first-time finalist. That's the top half of the draw. And then you've got to think that Qinwen Zhang, just being the highest-ranked player there, is probably the favorite to come through to the final out of them. But anything can happen, as this half of the draw has shown. And then, of course, Goff and Kostyuk and Kuchikova and Sabalenka, which is probably going to be, in my opinion, one of the better matches we get in this round.
Yeah, and you know what? Barbara Kuchikova, Grand Slam champion.
Grand Slam champion.
So she knows how to win.
Multiple-time doubles Grand Slam champion as well.
Yeah. I think on hard court and clay and Wimbledon and the US Open. So like she's played on these. So this isn't new to her. Like she's not like a Grand Slam specialist where it's like I do well at just the grass or clay, something they knocked Rafa for, but he showed them. He showed
Yep,
them.
he did. He turned into
Yes,
an all-court player.
yeah. He has at least 2 titles in every single major.
Yep.
At least 2.
And an Olympic gold medal.
And Olympic gold medal. You goddamn right. Yeah. Where's your Olympic gold medal? Novak.
Novak doesn't have one. Fed has an
Exactly.
Olympic gold medal, but it's in doubles. Rafa has one in singles and in doubles.
And Murray has one in singles.
Murray has 2 in singles.
Murray has, him, that bionic ass hip. Look at him. Look at that man. I love Andy Murray. Shout out to Andy Murray. Did you see Andy Murray go after somebody on Twitter? You didn't see that? So someone said Andy Murray was slow on court and something. And then he was like, oh, I gotta do that. Give me your predictions on who's gonna move on to the semifinals. I gotta find this Andy Murray tweet. He went after homeboy.
I'm going Goff and Sabalenka for the semifinal in the bottom half of the draw, and I'll go Zhang, and I really like Linda Noskova, and she's more rested because having not had to play a full match in this 4th round. So I'll say Linda Noskova in the quarter against Zhang.
Oh, Liam Brody. It's Liam Brody, right?
Liam Brody said that? Damn.
Yeah. Or no, so Liam Brody said something. All right, so hold up. Let me see what Liam Brody said. He said something.
Okay.
What did he say? Let me see. What did Liam Brody say? Oh, okay. So they're talking about Mira Andreeva's so Andy Murray was talking about Mira Andreeva's mental side game. When she was down 5-1? Remember that? And then I told you about how the commentator talked about she needs to work on her mental side, but then she wins. So Andy Murray's talking about that, talking about her mental strength, and then Liam Brody responds with saying, "Mental strength's the wrong phrase. To come back down from 5-1 to third in a slam at her age is great mental strength. But perhaps if she had greater mental composure, she wouldn't have been down 5-1 in the third in the first place."
Damn.
And then Andy Murray, it's Liam Brody hitting balls in Hong Kong, and he's like, one step. Then Andy Murray then says, "Footwork speed is the wrong phrase. To move like that at 12 years old is incredible footwork speed. But perhaps if you had better footwork composure, you wouldn't have had that problem with your feet in the first place."
I love Andy Murray so much. It's going to be a sad day if Wimbledon this year is actually the end, because I love Andy Murray so much.
He wouldn't let Liam Brody breathe. He went after Liam Brody. And then all Liam Brody could do was respond to the tweet by just laughing. But he was sad. He was sad. He was crying in the corner in his house saying, Andy Murray went after me on Twitter. So shout out to Andy Murray.
Oh, Liam.
Hey, Andy.
Liam.
Come on the podcast, man. Let's talk about your hips.
Cool. That'd be cool. Fares can play his hips don't lie soundbite.
For you, Andy. For you. Shakira only for you. If I have it still. No, I don't. I don't have it anymore.
Okay, you don't have it anymore.
Okay. Let's
talk about the men.
Okay. Well,
which have been much more predictable.
Yeah, speaking of men, from Andy Murray to the men's singles draw. Actually, I don't think it was that predictable because a lot of people thought Tsitsipas was going to beat Fritz. I think that's the thing that threw everybody off.
Well, but if you look at the 8 names that are in the quarterfinals: Djokovic, Fritz, Sinner, Rublev, Hurkacz, Medvedev, Zverev, and Alcaraz, and then you look at the 8 names that are in the women's quarterfinals, it's much more predictable on the men's side.
I'm very
But that doesn't mean it's not competitive.
I'm very disappointed in Cam Norrie. I'm very disappointed in Cam Norrie because Cam Norrie should have won that match. He was up. He was up on Sasha Zverev in the last set.
His first serve deserted him in the tiebreak, and that was that.
Yeah, because I believe Sasha Zverev was up 6-1 in the tiebreak. Then he beat
6-1, 5-2, something like that. Yeah,
something like that. And then Sasha Zverev just wins 10-3. It was like no muss, no fuss. like nothing. And Cam Nori fought him to the end. Like it was a fight. Like they swapped sets. It was 7-5
Mm-hmm.
Zverev, 6-3 Nori, 6-3 Zverev, 6-4 Nori, and then they went to a tiebreaker in the last set. And quite frankly, man, Cam Nori should have made it out. I'm very disappointed in Cam Nori.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his first serve deserted him in that
yeah.
tiebreak. It was pretty sad to watch. Zverev, I've decided on the show, Fares, every single time we talk about Alexander Zverev from here on out, we're going to remind people that he's being forced to a public trial in Germany in May for a domestic violence charge, because I don't think that should be swept under the rug and forgotten.
Actually, ESPN brought up a graphic reminding people during his match.
I was glad to see that, because
Yeah.
it should be something that's kept in the forefront, because he wants to brush it under the rug and say he says he didn't do it, which he's more than entitled to say he didn't do it.
Mhm,
Court in Germany will determine whether he actually did or not later.
mhm.
But like that Breakpoint episode, I haven't watched it. I'm not gonna watch it. It pisses me off that they dedicated a whole episode to Zverev, and that was that.
Yeah, and Coco Golf only got like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, come on, son.
like
Come on. Like, come on.
Alexander Zverev is one of the best players in the world. I will give him that.
That
But
is true.
he also sounds like a real nightmare to be around as a person.
That as well. And that as well.
I
But,
mean, yeah.
continue, deal. Sorry, don't continue.
I was gonna say he's got a matchup next against Carlos Alcaraz, who beat Miramir Kekmanovic pretty easily.
Yeah, it was, there's literally nothing to talk about in this match.
There's
It
nothing
was,
to talk about.
it was,
He was beating him so easily that Alcaraz was on court, and they were still showing Zverev and Nori on ESPN. Like it was not competitive.
no, not
Um,
whatsoever.
and Carlitos can take him out in the next round. I think he will. I'm not sure what their head-to-head is. I'll look that up while you talk about something else about these matches that you saw.
Yeah. When I was watching the Fritz match, I'm not gonna lie to you, in the Fritz match, I was
That
very
was the
scared.
best match of
I
the
was,
fourth
I
round.
was, I was quite scared that Fritz was gonna blow it. I really was, because Fritz, he could have went up 2 sets to love, but then Stefano Tsitsipas came back and won 7-5. And I'm like, oh my god, not again, not again, not Fritz imploding again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Fritz, I think I remember a couple. I think 2 shows ago where I said how Breakpoint didn't do him or any of the American men any favors, because it made them seem like losers, in the sense that they only wanted to be the number one American. But back in the day, the number one American won Grand Slams. Back in the day, the number one American was the best tennis player on the men's side. And sometimes on both sides. But then the problem is the male generation didn't overlap with Serena Williams, so it never happened at the same time. So like, back in the day, like the number one tennis player in the world used to be either Andre Agassi or Pete Sampras. You know what I mean? Like they were the top dogs. McEnroe. You know what I mean? On the occasion, Jim Curtin, when he was number one in the world. Courier, not Jim Curtin. Jimmy Connors. You know what I mean? Like he was, like they were winning slams. So like when they were in the Breakpoint talking about like, oh, I want to be the number one American, that's loser behavior. You don't want to be the number one American, because the number one American used to mean you were winning Grand Slams more than once a year. So screw your ranking, go win a Grand Slam. And I think Taylor Fritz, this is the number 7th player in the world. This is Stefano Tsitsipas, multiple time Grand Slam finalist. And you, after falling down 7-5 in a set where you should have won, I believe, you then beat him 6-3, 6-3. And you beat him by sheer force of will, forcing your girlfriend to eat Vegemite. So good job.
Yeah. Well, she actually did. She did. She ate Vegemite on Instagram Live.
And you could see her like dry heave off camera, and it was kind of disturbing. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was kind of disturbing. I'm sorry, Morgan, but you made that bet.
I'm sorry, Morgan. She made the bet. She lived up to the bet. Kudos to her for living up to the bet. But why did you make that bet? Vegemite just sounds disgusting. I can't imagine actually eating it.
Shout out to the homie Anthony Nugent. He don't like Vegemite. He told me, he's like, I hate that. That's disgusting. And he's
shout
Australian.
Out to Nuge. Yeah, shout out to Nuge.
But yeah, he showed resolve. And Taylor Fritz is talented.
He's
He's
very
talented.
talented.
You
I
know?
remember Taylor Fritz when he was coming up as an 18-year-old, and he was starting to get a few wins on tour. And I just remember thinking, if he gets the right coaching and has the right mindset, he could be really good. But like, I haven't felt for a long time until like this sort of like group that we've got coming up with Ben Shelton and Taylor, I think has a chance that we have a chance of an American getting good enough to win slams. The problem is that the rest of the world just keeps getting better. You've got guys like Alcaraz and like Sinner who looks phenomenal and ready to win a slam. And you've
Seven
still got
Deadly's my man.
and like you've still got Djokovic in here where this is Djokovic's tournament. He's won it 10 times. Like it was like I forget like how many years ago it was. Today is the anniversary of the last time Djokovic last lost at the Australian Open to Hyung Chang.
I have a secret sauce on how to beat Novak Djokovic at Australia.
Can I finish my point?
Got you.
Everyone's like, oh, is this the tides turning? Djokovic has lost in Australia. He lost in straight sets to Chang. Like there was a whole thing, and then he's won 4 of the next 5 Australian Opens, and he only didn't win the other one because they deported him. So I'd like to see somebody else win. I really would. I'd like Taylor Fritz a lot. I'd love it if Taylor Fritz beats Djokovic in the quarterfinals. I would.
Which is today?
A feeling it's today. I have a feeling that we'll be getting Sinner versus Djokovic in the quarterfinals, and I'd really want to see if Sinner can beat him with the way that he's playing.
Semifinals,
excuse me. Yeah.
Sinner has to beat Rublev, by the way.
Sinner has to beat Rublev, yeah.
Which I think is going to happen.
Rublev had a 5-setter against Diminor, bageled Diminor in the 5th set. Alex Diminor is a top 10 player. Like, that's not a bad win, but like Rublev has had too many matches in this tournament where he doesn't win easily enough like he should. Like, I'm still getting my head around the fact that Alex Diminor is a top 10 player. Like he just beat Djokovic in the United Cup. Like Diminor is a great player, but like I'm not used to him being like top 10 good.
Yeah, and bageling a top 10 player is impressive.
Bageling a top 10 player in the 5th set is impressive. In his home country, in his home slam, when he's the last Australian standing. Yeah, men's or women's.
And you know the crowd is not on your side.
Yeah,
they are not on your side.
It was impressive from Rublev, but I think Jannik Sinner will beat him. And whether it's Djokovic or Fritz, probably Djokovic. I'd love it if it's Fritz, but probably Djokovic. I'm looking forward to that semifinal.
Jannik Sinner, another straight set match. He has not gone to a 4th set. No, he hasn't at all in any of this tournament. He did have to go to finally went to I think a 7-5 game. I think that was his first 7-5 game in like ever. I mean, in this moment, because he's been beating people 6-4, 6-3, 6-1, 6-love.
He's been winning easily.
Yeah,
he really has.
And I think, no offense to Fritz or Djokovic, I think Sinner makes the final.
I think the way Sinner's playing, he's definitely got a chance. I think he'd beat Fritz and make the final for sure. I am not sure he could beat Djokovic at night on Rod Laver Arena in a semifinal of the Australian Open. He hasn't proven that to me yet.
I got faith in 7 Deadly, and we're gonna get a rematch.
I want him to. Let's make that very clear. I want him to. I'm ready for the changing of the guard. Like Federer is retired, Rafa's nearing retirement, and he's not really a factor anymore the way that he was like once the factor in everything. And Djokovic, I'm ready for Djokovic to go away now. I know that's not going to happen for a few years because he's younger, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the changing of the guard.
Wait, well, Rafa's older than he is because he has no knees, but I think they're only separated by 2 years, right?
Yeah, Rafa's only a year or 2 years older than him, but just the longevity of the career
since he was 18.
The injuries and how long Rafa's been at the top of the game. I'm a huge Rafael Nadal fan. I would watch him play tennis forever if I could. But I'm ready for other people to win things.
Rafa Nadal has been at the top of tennis since he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
17 years old. Like really, like 17, 18 years old. It's 20
I
years.
remember his 18th birthday. I watched him beat Federer in the semifinals of the French and make his first Grand Slam final on his 18th birthday.
Yeah. So that man, that man for 21 years. 21 years. 21 years? Yeah,
Not
21 years.
21 years. No, 19.
20,
It
19.
was 2005. He turned 18 in 2005.
Damn. My time is all messed up. Because my entire life he's been the number one tennis player in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like about 20 years, 19, 20 years, he has been the man.
Yeah.
I got into an argument with my friends, Brodney, because they like sports, but they don't really watch tennis. And I told them, I was like, hey man, he's the GOAT. And then they kind of arguing, we're going back and forth. And I told them, hey man, he's not left-handed. And then they're like, what? And then we just started a big old argument. And they're like, what do you mean? Who cares? And I was like, still, man, imagine winning a slam with your weak hand. Then Brodney likes to argue, so he just argued to argue with me, even though he was wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong, Brodney. Wrong.
It is incredibly impressive that he got to be the best, most dominant player in the world using his non-dominant hand.
Like it's like Tommy Paul uses his right hand. He's left-handed.
To play tennis. But he's left-handed, yeah. We discovered that at this tournament, and so did some of the people at ESPN.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what Tommy Paul isn't doing?
Winning
Grand Slams.
Yeah.
No offense to you, Tommy. I'm a big fan. But still, you haven't won anything. So,
yeah,
even you've admitted you drank too much growing up and you had partied and it wasted a couple years of your career. But I believe you can bounce back. But
let's talk about Medvedev beating Borges real quick. The Portuguese player Nuno Borges. Great showing for him coming through to the fourth round. He was never going to beat Medvedev.
No, he wasn't. It was a little scare. There was a little scare in the second set where they went to a tiebreaker, and but Medvedev won 7-4. Then in the very following set, Nuno wins. So everyone was like, "Oh, is this gonna be the bounce back?" Medvedev won 6-1, like it was nothing. It was
yeah.
And then
so
the most interesting part of this match is the post game press conference where they asked Medvedev a tennis question, and he went.
This was so good.
With him and Jim Courier, I believe. They start talking about drop shots and be like, if your drop shot isn't good enough, you're not going to beat me. And this is why his drop shot wasn't good enough. And he goes through an instruction of drop shots. And you're like, look at this man. He does have personality and a little gusto. Shout out to Daniil Medvedev. What did you think about that, Adelia?
I think that doing things like this, like when they asked Jim Courier again, that asked Jannik Sinner about his racket and the way that he uses his racket. In a previous round, Jim Courier asking Medvedev about returning serve and drop shots and stuff like this. Asking these guys questions about tennis does more for promoting the game and educating people about the sport than Breakpoint does. That's my theory.
Shout out to Jim Courier. Shout out to you, man.
All right, we got some comments in the chat from Mr. J. I don't know dilly squat about tennis, but I love catching y'all discussing about topics. And he says you have a nice haircut.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in, Jay. Appreciate it.
Couple days old. But yeah, man. But you know what match I circled on the fourth round, Adelia, that I thought was gonna be interesting was the Herbie Hurkacz and Arthur Cazot match, because in the first two sets it go to tiebreakers, but Herbie wins both tiebreakers, and then I believe just Arthur kind of just like didn't have enough energy to continue to fight Hubie, and Hubie just kind of moseyed down the road. And why does Herbie Hurkacz look like Tim Robinson? It's like if Tim Robinson's playing tennis.
It kind of does.
Like it throws me off. I'm like, yo, why is Tim Robinson out there?
This is the match that was never in doubt that Hubie would win this match, but also in doubt because it's Hubie and he could have mental lapses. And Cazot was playing really well. Had taken out
you need to leave
earlier in the tournament. So we got Hurkacz versus Medvedev. Should be a good quarterfinal. And Zverev versus Alcaraz will be a good quarterfinal. Zverev leads the head-to-head 4-3, by the way. but a number of Zverev wins were before Carlos Alcaraz was Carlos Alcaraz.
Mhm.
So I think Carlitos will win that one, especially given how long Zverev has had to play in some of his matches. I think he's played 2 5-setters this tournament,
I believe
Zverev.
so. I believe so.
So Carlos hasn't been troubled that much.
Nah, he's just been. Booker right now, Adelia. Sinner Alcaraz final. Yep, you can put that on the money.
All right,
That's what I'm
that's
putting.
Ferris's prediction. I'm going for definitely a Medvedev Alcaraz semifinal.
Oh yes, I agree.
I don't think Hubie can beat Daniil. I just don't.
Mhm.
I think Sinner will get past Rublev because again, Rublev playing 5-setters in the first round for no fucking reason has like it
Adelia,
just
this is a
takes it
family
out of
show.
you.
Come on. This is a
I'm
family.
sorry. I'm sorry. It drives me nuts. Andrei Rublev. There are certain things that you can just guarantee. One of them is that Andrei Rublev is going to play an unnecessary 5-setter in a Grand Slam.
Mhm.
And then I don't think Fritz will beat Djokovic, but I think Sinner can beat Djokovic in the semis.
Mhm.
I'm not sure it's going to happen, but I think he can.
Yeah, I really want Fritzy to do it, but I don't think he can pull it out. But if he does pull it out, I'll be quiet.
I'll be very excited if Taylor Fritz beats Djokovic tonight.
Yeah, because if he does beat Djokovic, I think he could beat Sinner. Because
Yeah, he'd have a lot of confidence from beating Tsitsipas and Djokovic back to back.
you're talking about beating number 7 and number 1 in the world, and it puts a little pep in the step and it keeps you moving and grooving. But I don't think it's gonna happen. But
No.
we'll see. Adelia, anything else?
Just excited. We're getting down to the business end of the tournament.
Yes.
The fortnight of no sleep is almost over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to sleeping very soundly on Sunday night.
Yeah, because these matches they go, they're one match a time or two, or they're 2 matches a night, but they're one at a time, so you can focus on one and then focus on the other. As I quite enjoyed that, but then
yeah, well, 2 matches on each side of the draw. I mean,
yeah,
on each in each draw. So 2 men's matches today, 2 women's matches today, 2 men's matches tomorrow, 2 women's matches tomorrow, and then the semifinals. The schedule's a little different, but yeah.
well, technically it's 2 and 2, but but the day wise, it's one male match today, and then the next male match is at 1 a.m. tomorrow for me, which would
Yeah,
be
yeah, but it's all being played on the same day in Australia, is what I'm
yes,
saying.
it's gonna be
So
yes, all on the same day.
it's split over 2 days here because of
Yes,
the time difference, but it's all being
exactly.
played on Tuesday down in Australia, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific tonight.
They're all playing on Rod Laver, by the way, too.
Yeah, they're all on Rod Laver at this point. Yeah.
All right. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Adelia, where can people find you?
You can find me here every 3 p.m. Pacific on this channel doing the starting 11 on Tuesdays with my buddy Snark. We're going to have an episode of that tomorrow. Another shorter week of the English Premier League this week, but we'll see if the show remains as long as it normally is, like last week's did. And then you can find us, Fares, and me on the Entertainment Channel with Snark on Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, reviewing Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the Rewatchers Council. We do episode 9, The Puppet Show of season 1 this week. So we're 9 episodes in to 144 episodes that we're doing of this show. So we have a ways to go, obviously. Mm-hmm. And no, the open table this week for some personal reasons, but we will be back hopefully next week to do the open table Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific. Finally doing a show in 2024.
Yes. And the reason a lot of stuff has been moved by the open table, when we talk about them, one part's illness.
We're gonna talk about them on the show when we do the show.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Yeah.
But on that note, everyone, you guys, I could rattle off where you guys can find me.
Jay.
I'm everywhere where Adelia said, as well as on this channel, 3:00 Pacific every Friday. Good Friends, Better Rivals. Me and Caleb talk American football. So there's that. But I'm at Fares Malone on Twitter. I am at where Adelia says Me and Adelia are like attached at the hip. Wherever
Yeah.
she is, you're probably gonna find me. So there's that.
Well, if you're watching this on the replay, or you happen to be watching this live now, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it.
We're at 126 subscribers. We're trying to get to 130. We're just 4 away from 130. So hit that like button. So share the video, share the channel. We have a bunch of stuff, guys. We talk tennis, American football, talk soccer.
We're just a couple months away from the playoff periods coming back to talk some hockey.
We talk some hockey a little. We have a little Canadian flavor on the squad by way of Rob Snark. Shout out to Ryan, the patron, as well as another Canadian. So shout out to him. I'm a big fan of the Canadians. Just don't tell them I said that. But I'm a big fan.
I'm gonna clip this out now.
Yeah, you can. Now you have video evidence. But on that note, everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. By the way, there's probably, speaking of soccer, maybe something coming up in a bit involving the game, involving the virtual world of soccer.
Yeah. One second. Jay, we will not be discussing pickleball or cricket on this channel.
Hey man, if someone knows cricket, I want to learn cricket.
I love watching cricket.
I want to learn cricket.
It's very hard to find in the US.
Me and Adelia probably talk some rugby. Let's talk some rugby.
I'd love to talk some rugby with you, Fares.
Let's talk some rugby, because I have no idea what I'm watching. I just ask a bunch of questions.
Let's do something.
Let's do something for the Six Nations, which is what? Yeah. Which is what, like a week?
It starts in a couple of weeks in February. We'll have to work around me being on vacation for a week, but yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's talk about the Six Nations. Let's shout out to Malcolm, the Kiwi that I know. Shout out to Jess, the other Kiwi. I don't know who else watches rugby, but besides you.
I don't know either. But I love rugby. I love watching rugby union. So.
Tim Elthridge, he watches rugby.
Tim Elthridge, yeah.
And Keith Kilduff.
Keith Kilduff, yeah.
Yeah. You think Chris Barnes does too? I don't know.
I'm sure that the Brits are more likely to be watching rugby.
Well, Keith's Irish.
Keith's Irish, but I mean, like the Brits, like David Campbell and other Brits that watch this channel, I'm sure are more likely to be watching the rugby.
Should we let's dip our toe into the rugby sphere and get yelled at? Get yelled at by British people and Irish people and
okay, let me answer Jay's question. Rugby is not on ESPN3, it's on Flow Rugby, which you have to pay $30 a month to get, but it's so worth it if you like watching.
You get a lot of stuff. You get a lot. You get the Six Nations, you get the Rugby Championship.
You get Super Rugby.
You get Super Rugby.
United Rugby Championship, which is Wales and Scotland and Ireland and Italy and South Africa. I know that sounds weird, but it's cool. There's a lot of stuff on Flow Rugby. So
I don't think you get the French or the English leagues.
I think the French league is on Flow Rugby, actually. I don't think the English league is. The English league is on Peacock, I believe.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Man.
Pay extra? I don't know. Fair's tipping money.
My brother dropped 100 once, and people think I got money. I was being helpful. I was being supportive of my friends on the other channels.
Yeah,
being a nice guy. But on that note, everyone,
Flow Rugby is like $30 a month, but it's so worth it.
It's so worth it. It's worth it. But on that note, everyone, thank you guys so much for watching us. Hope our forehand hit your backhand perfectly. But on that note, Adelia, let's head on out. Stay safe, stay calm, and be happy because you're watching the Happy Slam, the Australian Open. And Patrick McEnroe, keep doing you, buddy. Keep doing you.